Welcome everyone to this explainer. Okay, today we are going to do a completely visual breakdown of our mind's hidden patterns. Have you ever wondered why that incredible, unstoppable burst of motivation you feel on day 1 of a new project just completely vanishes by day 14? Well, today we're unpacking the biological and psychological traps that hold us back. And more importantly, we're going to learn exactly how to rewire our brains to finally become finishers.
So, let's just dive right in with a massive question. Why did 90% of people quit what they start? To make this deeply personal, I want you to do a quick mental audit of your phone right now. Seriously, go ahead, picture your home screen. How many unused apps are sitting right there? You know, that premium language learning app you swore you'd use every single day? The workout app that's just gathering digital dust? Or maybe a really specialized online course you bought on sale but literally never opened past the first module? Hey, don't worry, we all have them.
And you know, the data backs this up perfectly. According to research from the University of Scranton, a staggering 92% of New Year's resolutions fail. That means only a tiny 8% fraction of people actually reach the finish line on those big goals they were so incredibly fired up about on January 1st.
And to really build on that momentum, let's talk about something I'm sure we've all seen: the gym. It happens every single year, right? The facilities are absolutely packed in January, but only about 15% of people actually maintain that regular gym habit long term. The other 85%? They completely abandon it, often while they're still paying for the membership.
But it's not just fitness either. If we look at data from Harvard and MIT regarding online courses, it shows that only 5 to 10% of students actually complete the courses they enroll in. Over 90% just abandon them after a few lessons. Now, what's really fascinating about this data is that it validates your experience. If you've ever quit something, you need to hear this right now. It is not a defect in your willpower. It's actually a hardwired, evolutionary trap that our brains fall into. And that is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be hitting the 90% trap, the shiny object syndrome, the emotional cycle of change, and the cost of quitting. After that, we'll cover 5 brain cheat codes, and finally, how to become a finisher.
All right, Section 1, the 90% trap and its biological roots.
So to figure out why our brains constantly look for the nearest exit the second heart work is required, we have to look at something called neophilia. Basically, this is our brain's natural evolutionary love for new things. Now, thousands of years ago, this wiring is what kept us alive. Finding a new path meant avoiding danger, finding new resources meant survival. But today, living in our hyper-stimulating digital age, this ancient survival instinct has become a total neural hijack. Our brains are literally wired to view old, repetitive paths as exhausting and new, shiny paths as highly beneficial. So your brain is essentially manipulating you to avoid effort by constantly craving novelty.
Section 2, Shiny Object Syndrome, our modern villain.
That biological instinct perfectly tees up this modern psychological trap. Shiny object syndrome, or SOS for short, is the habit of continually abandoning your current goals to pursue new, seemingly way more exciting ideas. Think of it as a perpetual honeymoon phase. You get all that amazing excitement of starting something new, but the absolute moment the honeymoon ends and the real work begins, you jump ship to the next shiny thing. But let me be perfectly clear here. This syndrome doesn't save your ship, it sinks it.
Let's look at a brilliant, real-world example of the long-term impact of SOS. Take 2 incredibly talented cricketers from Mumbai, Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli. They started on the exact same ground with the exact same coach. And early on, a lot of people considered Kambli even more naturally talented. But while Tendulkar relied on relentless discipline and pushed straight through bad form, Kambli succumbed to distractions, glamour, and shiny new objects. The result? Tendulkar became known globally as the god of cricket, while Kambli faced severe financial and career struggles. It's a pretty stark visual of just how devastating the lack of focus can be.
Moving on to Section 3, the emotional cycle of change, and exactly how we get tricked. So how exactly does our brain trick us into abandoning our potential? Well, it uses a very specific emotional framework. Every new goal follows these 5 steps. Level 1 is uninformed optimism. You just bought a guitar and bam, your brain gives you this massive dopamine spike. You're already imagining playing to a sold-out stadium, completely unaware of how much your fingers are actually going to bleed. Then comes level 2, informed pessimism. A week later, your fingers hurt, it's hard, and that dopamine crashes. Your brain immediately starts showing you trailers for other, easier hobbies. Then we hit the danger zone. Level 3, the valley of despair. If you can survive that, you reach level 4, informed optimism, where you finally start seeing real skills develop, which leads right into level 5, victory.
But let's really zero in on level 3 here. The valley of despair is where everything falls apart. Progress feels agonizingly slow, and your motivation completely, utterly vanishes. Right at this moment, your brain demands a shortcut. It does not want to do the hard work to reach level 4. It just wants that cheap level 1 dopamine hit again. So what does it do? It presents a new, shiny object. This is exactly where 90% of people quit. They abandon their current project, jump to a new one, and reset their progress all the way back to zero, just to feel that starting excitement all over again.
Section 4. The cost of quitting and its compounding damages.
Falling into that valley of despair over and over, it's really not just a harmless quirk. When you repeatedly quit, you aren't just exploring your options. Discipline comes from repetition, right? So if you repeat quitting, you are actively training your quitting muscle. Because of this, you become a permanent beginner. You know a little bit about coding, a little bit about guitar, but you have absolutely no actual expertise. You accumulate a massive debt of half-finished dreams, wasting money on courses and equipment you never use. Your self-doubt grows, and tragically, your ambition slowly shrinks. You stop aiming high because, subconsciously, you just don't trust yourself to finish.
There's this powerful saying I love: being busy is not the same as being productive. Motion without momentum is just a rocking chair. SOS gives you the illusion of progress. You feel like you're moving, you're buying new tools, you're starting new planners, you're rocking back and forth vigorously, sure, but you aren't actually traveling anywhere.
All right, Section 5, 5 brain cheat codes to hack this cycle. We know the trap, we know the severe costs, so let's get into the solutions. Cheat code 1 is what some call the parking lot or a distraction sheet. When you're working away on your main goal and your brain suddenly screams, "Hey, we should learn to speak Japanese today," don't act on it. Instead, open a specific note on your phone and just write it down. This really simple act of documenting the idea actually tricks your brain. It calms the dopamine spike because the brain feels like the idea has been addressed, but it keeps you from actually abandoning your current project. Look at that list in a few days, and I guarantee you'll realize 80% of those ideas were just temporary distractions.
Cheat code 2 is to burn the ships. Back in 1590, when Commander Hernan Cortez landed on a new island, he literally ordered his men to sink their own ships. Why? Because with no way to retreat, their only options were victory or death. You can apply this yourself by making quitting incredibly painful. Give a friend a substantial amount of money, say $100 or even $500. Tell them, look, if I do not finish this course by Friday, you keep the cash. Suddenly, quitting isn't free anymore. Your brain will aggressively find a way through that valley of despair just to save your money.
Moving right along to cheat code 3, mental time travel. Top actors and athletes use this constantly. Have you ever noticed athletes wearing those heavy headphones right before a massive game? They're using specific music playlists to anchor their emotions. So, create a specific playlist that you only listen to when you are highly motivated on day one of your project. Later on, when you hit that valley of despair and the task feels incredibly boring, play that exact same music. It literally acts as a time machine, triggering your brain to recall and embody that initial day one energy, and that's going to help you push right through the friction.
Cheat code 4 is the boredom reset. The core reason we fall for shiny object syndrome is that our brains are wildly overstimulated. We are just drowning in constant digital noise. So to break the loop, you need a technology detox. Take a day or hey, even just a half day with no phone, no internet, absolutely no stimulation. Just you and a notebook. When you deliberately deprive your brain of constant hyperstimulation, it undergoes a reset. Suddenly, that boring, productive task you've been avoiding all week actually starts to feel deeply engaging and exciting again.
And finally, cheat code 5, the finisher muscle. If your quitting muscle is strong right now, it means your finisher muscle is terribly weak, and you cannot rebuild it overnight by attempting some massive task. You have to start ridiculously small to rebuild your identity. Don't commit to a grueling 1-hour gym session. Commit to a 5-minute jog. Don't write a whole script, just write 3 bullet points. The goal here isn't the physical output. The real goal is teaching your brain to trust you again. You are literally rewiring your identity from a quitter into a finisher, just one tiny completed task at a time.
Section 6. Become a finisher and write your legacy. It's actually fascinating when you look at top-tier performers like Logan Paul. His secret? He obsesses over one single thing until it is completely automated, well before moving on to the next shiny object. So I want to leave you with this powerful thought. The world applauds starters, but history is written for finishers. Here's my challenge to you today. Pick just one specific goal you've been abandoning. Draw a line in the sand right now.
When history looks back at your life, will it see a graveyard of brilliant starts or the legacy of a relentless finisher? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.